What documentation is required for LSAT accommodations? If you are considering accommodations for the law school admission test, you may be wondering what specific documentation you need to provide. Let's break down the requirements to ensure you are well prepared. To request accommodations, candidates must submit official documentation that verifies their disability and its impact on test taking. This documentation needs to be current and prepared by qualified professionals like licensed psychologists or medical doctors. The exact requirements can vary based on whether you have received accommodations before and the nature of your disability. Here are some basic documentation requirements to keep in mind. First, you will need evidence of your disability. This includes a formal diagnosis supported by clinical evaluation reports, test results, or medical records. For mental or cognitive disabilities, the documentation should typically be dated within the last 5 years. For other types of disabilities, it should be current and relevant, often not older than the age of 13. Next, you will need a statement of need for accommodation. This is a detailed explanation, usually completed by the diagnosing professional, outlining how your disability affects your ability to take the LSAT under standard conditions. This statement should also justify the specific accommodations you are requesting. Additionally, you must complete a candidate accommodation form. This official form will include your personal information, the nature of your disability, and the accommodations you are seeking. If you have received accommodations on previous LSAT administrations or other standardized tests, it is helpful to include any prior approval letters or documentation to support your current request. Accommodation requests are categorized, and the documentation requirements can differ based on the category. For non-extended time accommodations, like a separate testing room or assistive technology, you will need to provide evidence supporting your need. However, this is generally less extensive than what is required for extended time requests. If you are requesting 50% or 100% extended time, you will need comprehensive documentation, including objective clinical validation. For requests exceeding 50% extended time, testing over multiple days, or other exceptional accommodations, the documentation must be the most detailed and justified. All documentation must be submitted through the Law School Admission Council portal, and it is best to do this before the registration deadline for your desired test date. It is recommended to submit your requests and supporting materials as early as possible, as the review process can take several weeks or even months. Make sure your documentation is typed when possible and includes all required forms, clinical reports, and letters from qualified professionals. From a law school perspective, having proper documentation is essential not only for securing accommodations on the LSAT but also for advocating for accommodations during law school. In summary, the required documentation for LSAT accommodations includes clinical evaluation reports or medical records confirming the disability, a professional statement explaining the functional limitations and accommodation needs, completed candidate and professional forms provided by the Law School Admission Council, and any prior accommodation approval letters if applicable. Submitting complete and current documentation early can improve your chances of timely approval and help you integrate accommodations into your LSAT preparation and law school admission process.